And with me now is Kris Arnold. Kris works for Coventry Log and Timber Homes out of Woodsville, New Hampshire. Good morning, Kris.
Good morning.
So Kris is in, if it's cold here in Lake George, New York, it's colder in Woodsville, New Hampshire. So let's just say it's cold. Kris has been in the industry for 11 years. Her role with the company is she's really a sales representative for the company, helps people through the process of building a log home, and is certainly in her career has helped many people with their log home and timber frame dreams. And like a lot of different people, there are some key points that you want to kind of talk about and make sure you have covered to kind of help you through that process. After all, building one of these homes is unique. It's not like going into a development where you get to pick out, your vinyl siding colors and a few windows here and there and call it a day. These are truly custom homes, but to get there, you have to cover some steps. And one of the things are the key first steps. And we want to talk about the first steps checklist for building your new home. And Kris is going to kind of help us through there, whether it's land, designing for the future. All those things need to be thought about long before you put a shovel in the ground. Kris, want to help us along with that?
Sure. I think that when I first started a long time ago, I used to think, oh, this is so easy. It's an easy process, but there's so much to think about that you just don't think about. And losing my home to a fire 3 years ago, I got firsthand experience in what it's like to go from the ground up. And it can be terrifying, but at the same time, at the end, it's so rewarding. There's a lot of things to consider. Some people come to me and they say, where do I start? Well, I do believe that you want to have an idea what your land is, because your land speaks to you. And when you see that land, it's either going to have a nice woodsy feel where it's not that important to have a view, but maybe you want a really nice porch to sit on. But if you're overlooking a beautiful view of mountains or a lake or water, clearly you're going to want to have a lot more windows. You're going to want to know which direction to point the house and which one's going to work the best for you.
Well, you probably, Kris, like a lot of people in the industry, you probably see people come to you with a floor plan that they have to have. It may have been something they've been scratching on a napkin their whole lives, and they come to you with this plan, and maybe they don't own their land yet, or they haven't sited their house on their existing land. And once you go do one of those two things, you realize we maybe have to make some changes, and that probably happens a lot. So it's sometimes people get a little ahead of themselves with that floor plan. What about that decision early on?
Yeah, I think it's always good to start somewhere. You have a dream home in mind, and a lot of things come to play with that. For instance, I have a special needs daughter who's in a wheelchair. Perhaps there's someone in your family that you have to consider, I need main floor living. I need to think about those things. Maybe
Definitely.
I need 3-foot doors. Or maybe you're planning your retirement home and you're going to think about, perhaps that's something I need to think about. But we get all the time a napkin drawing. And you know what? It's okay if you don't have your land yet. And that's your house. And that's what you want no matter what land you're on. Then we're going to do a price quote, figure out, kind of give you a starting point. One thing that I think was completely helpful for me was to start a scrapbook.
Yeah, definitely. Great idea.
You're looking through stuff. Maybe you're on HGTV. We all are watching all these shows and renovation shows. And you're going, hey, I really like that. Or, I like the way that house looks, or I like the way that kitchen looks, or I like how that deck, works for outdoor furniture or outdoor living. You take all those things and start making notes, making scrapbooks, and then show me what you like, and then we can kind of help you.
And that's really one of your major roles in the process. It's, part of the fun of building one of these homes is the process, starting from that, like I said earlier, the dream long, long ago, to finally getting to a point in life where you can actually move ahead. And having someone like you in that process is really one of your main goals, is to help those dreams kind of get on paper, get out to the job site, get under construction, and eventually move in. So really that role in that designing for the future, you talked about that. That's huge. Wherever you are, depending on how old you are, you have different ideas of what you need. You just want to make sure that you always talk about those things up front. Those are those quick checklists, how to make sure, where you are. And then, of course, you have the budget, which everybody has to eventually cross that path.
Yes.
What about that in that early process?
Well, and I think that's where any of us in the industry come into play is that, you may start with grand dreams, and our job is to say, well, look, here's a place you can cut to make it work, but giving us the opportunity to quote your plan and maybe see where you are. Because I know I have no idea. I had some really great ideas that were super expensive. For instance, windows. People don't realize that glass, is an
Oh, yeah.
expensive portion of your house, so maybe if, as industry people, we can show you, well, look, what if you do this window instead of a custom, or, to achieve the same thing, or maybe you could cut this room a little smaller because you don't spend a lot of time in your bedroom and make your living area grander, so those kind of things we're here to help with.
That's great. Those are great tips, Kris, and I want to thank you for those tips. And let's talk a little bit about your company, Coventry Log and Timber Homes. Tell us a little bit about that and where you guys are located, how you go to market, all that good stuff.
Sure. Well, thanks for that opportunity, because I'm super happy to talk about Coventry Log Homes. I've been here almost 11 years. I come from a real estate background in finance. We've been in business over 27 years in the same place, and I get to look out my window over here at the mill. So I watch your truck leave. I think that's one of the beautiful things about our company is that we have 3 drafters on staff. I can just get out of my office here, out of my chair, and go talk to them and ask them questions. The pricing department's upstairs. They're loading your truck. I'm looking out the window at it. It's a family-owned business, and we don't have dealers. It's just all right here. And we pay your shipping to Eastern and Central time zones. It's just $1. Little things like that, I think, go a long way. And you work with the sales rep. You work with me. I'm your person. I'm still talking to people from 10 years ago.
That's awesome. It is what I like to say. It's relationship selling at its best, in my opinion. So it's awesome. Kris, thank you for your time this morning, and we'll talk soon.
Hey, thanks, everybody. Enjoy your day.